It's raining. Ooh, ooh. Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's original series, The Rain Season 2. So The Rain Season 2 picks off exactly where Season 1 left off, and if you haven't seen Season 1 then there probably will most definitely be spoilers in this, so I suggest watching that. I've actually got a review for that if you want to check that out. So a year ago, almost to the day to the week, because it was in May that was released, the first season, Rasmus and his sister were running away. They were in the Humvee, and that's where this season picks up. Interestingly, Netflix have only released 6 episodes for season 2, so it's much shorter. I'll say much. The first season had 8. This season has 6, and the first episode is fairly short at just under 40 minutes, and the rest are about 45 minutes. But what I can say, and what I'm going to say, is I was really surprised by how much better this season is. I really feel like they hit their stride here, and when I was watching the beginning and I found out that actually it only had 6 episodes, I thought, oh, maybe this is a bit shocking, maybe it didn't go the way they thought it was, and we're probably not going to get any more after this, because going from a series that gives you 8 episodes to going to 6 doesn't bode well. Well, it looks that way, but I can say happily, that's not a word, happily, that this series for me was a huge step up from season 1. So in season 1 you've got this group of people that survive, and I had some very interesting comments in my review for season 1. Weird comments like people saying, oh, this is rubbish, only 12-year-olds would enjoy this, and it's full of plot holes, why is the rain affecting them, or why are they like touching water with the rain that's infected it. And there are definitely some plot holes, but for the most part I thought it was an interesting premise, and they developed some major characters after Rasmus, after the main characters, the brother and sister, emerge from this bunker 6 years after mostly everything has been wiped out, and then they develop these friendships, and you find out that there's this group of people that want to use them, want to stop them. But season 2 for me is much better, and that's mostly because the story centers around Rasmus, who, as we find out, is infected. The bad guys want him and the good guys want him, and it's all centered on Rasmus. But what I can say is that they definitely worked on character development. Not just for Rasmus, but with even the side characters, I thought they really did a good job. In season 1 they did this flashback thing where they showed parts of how they got to where they did, or like interesting moments of what happened in these characters' lives. And they do the same thing, not just for the main characters in season 2, but also some of the side characters, or the new kind of protagonists that join the group along the way, and really try not to do any spoilers because I don't want to give anything away. It's really interesting with how they go backwards, because it really does kind of flesh out the story for the main storyline. So you go backwards, you find out what their intention was, how they got there, and I think it really does help. It's a well done backstory for some of these characters. But going back to the main kind of protagonist, the main kind of plot line, the effects for this, I thought they really stepped up their game. I liked what they did with the disease and how it's mutating and what it's doing and what they're doing with the storyline with Rasmus and sister and her, kind of the people that they form attachments to. There's a particular young couple that's in their group that I thought some of their acting bits were really great, but it's not perfect. There are places in storyline where I thought the characters in real life you wouldn't choose or wouldn't do that, and I think that's written in to move the plot along. Sometimes characters do things in series that you go, wait, I wouldn't do that. That's not how I would react. If it's the end of the world, I'm definitely gonna go and, you know, make a rational decision rather than an emotional decision. But I don't know, if you're in the moment and that stuff is happening to you, what would you actually do? And I think it does help to ask those questions, and it does help to kind of conjure those questions while you're watching it. It kind of does kind of make you think about those things. I think 6 episodes is the right amount for this series. I don't think they could have stretched out this story, and I think it feels well paced. There was only a slight dip in the middle where I thought, okay, keep it going. But for the most part, each episode really kind of furthers along the main plot. They always are on this journey, which is one of the things I liked about the first series, and they keep going in this one, where these characters don't kind of stay stationary in one place. They move it along. It feels like a journey, an adventure that they're going on. And I have to say, where I was thinking that they were going to go by episode 6, they did. And I hoped I was going to see what they were going to do with it. And they really kind of... I felt satisfied with episode 6. So if we don't get another season, but it looks like we will, because there is kind of a cliffhanger ending. They leave a few things unanswered. There is definitely a kind of a moment where you go, wow, what was that? Or, wow, I wasn't expecting that. I was guessing at some of these points, but I was really happy with what they did with the last episode. I feel like they hit the pacing really well. The special effects are done well. I think the actors themselves have come into their own characters. Maybe that's because they had a season 1 to build on, but I feel like season 2 is so much better than season 1. I love so much about this. It's not perfect. It does have flaws. There are some continuity issues that I noticed along the way. There are some character mentions that I mentioned that did weird, strange things. And there are definitely plot issues that you could, I guess, pull apart if you wanted to. But for the most part, because they concentrated on Rasmus and the disease and trying to... I'm not going to say anything about that, but what they do with him, because they concentrated all on that, I think most of the other issues kind of fall away. And because it's all character development, they really take time on fleshing out these characters and their relationships. It can get a bit teenager-ish in moments, but I think for the most part there is this really great balance. And I am rambling a bit, but I'm really trying to get across that they've worked well at creating these characters that I think they've hit the marks. They've hit the pacing. The special effects look good. The subtitles, I watched this in subtitles and I thought it was excellent. Like from episode 1, I lost myself in. I didn't find myself trying to catch up reading, so I thought that was all done well. I think they've done a really good job. I'm hoping that we do get a season 3, because I have to say I'm really surprised by season 2. I thought season 1 was good and was interesting, but not great. It definitely had its issues, but season 2, yeah. So I'm going to give this a B+. I'd like to give it an A, but there are some issues. I definitely couldn't give it an A+ or an A-. So I think a B+ is right. It's good. It's got some really kind of great moments, but there are some issues that let it down. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about season 2. Are you hyped for this series? I've got another review coming out on Monday called The Perfection, and that's a non-spoiler review. And then the day after it's released, we've got a spoiler review for that, so check that out. But let me know what you thought about this series. I'm eager to hear what you guys think of this. Yeah, I thought it was good. Until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.